Glass with the big men they've got out there, including Osmar Garcia-Araujo. We'll see if he can impact this game here this evening.
And it was a close ball game for each conference championship. Each of them won by 3 points. And it's Anderson to take away the opening tip here as we start off the third game of the day in this NCAA Southeast Region tournament. And it's going to be A.J. Wright, SAC Defensive Player of the Year, handing this off to the Freshman of the Year, Rashawn Engelman. Makes a man miss, can't drain it from distance.
A little bit off balance there from the freshman. I would have liked to see him try to dribble or pass and then get the ball passed back to him, set his feet, and find a smart shot. But big nerves on a big stage, it makes sense.
Carl Cleveland, of course, was obviously the MVP of that Conference of Carolinas championship. And he's going to open up the scoring gate here with a deep three from number 35 in the purple, white, and black.
And this boy wastes no time getting red hot. He had 20 points in the first half in the Conference Carolinas title game where they took down the Cinderella of the tournament in Chowan. He had 34 points on the game, but there's a reason he's the Southeast Region Player of the Year. There's a reason he's the all-time leading scorer in Young Harris history.
Christian Drummer goes ahead, grabs the rebound, had 25 points against Shorter. That was his season high. He dumps this one off. And A.J. Wright showing why he was dubbed SAC Defensive Player of the Year. He forces the issue underneath the basket.
Well, A.J. Wright has done special things in his time with the black and gold. Over 200 career steals. Last year, he set the program record for steals in a season. And then this year, he set it again. He broke his own record with 80 this season, and he looks to add more here tonight.
You mentioned the Trojan three ball, and you're seeing the man who leads the charge from three-point range, and Kadyn Dawkins, he's on the ground. He'll find his way back up. The swing pass, Malachi Reeves in his final year of collegiate basketball, able to recollect himself and find A.J. Wright. And now it's the floor general for the Trojans. Working up and in, Trojans finally put a dent in this very small Young Harris lead.
And the first basket is always the hardest. Once one shot goes in, all of a sudden the offense feels like it just flows a lot more. Let's see if Anderson can get on a run from here.
Well, we're going to see some of the first free throws of the day come from Christian Drummer, the junior guard out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Coming off back-to-back double-digit scoring games. And, man, he has been efficient this season. 53% from the field. He's only been 62% from the line, and it makes him pay here. Now, we talk about efficiency, Jordan, but games are won nowadays in the new collegiate level of basketball from the charity stripe. Fouls are much more easily drawn, and teams have got to take advantage of those free opportunities.
And we saw two massive examples of that earlier today. Lander shot 50% from the free throw line, somehow was able to emerge victorious, but Catawba shot 42% from the charity stripe, whereas Columbus State shot 80%. The Cougars able to get the upset there. The free throw line, especially in tight games, is where the game is won and lost.
Reeves, three ball, unfriendly roll, rebound again by Drummer. He's averaging 10.2 points per game, only 2.8 rebounds, but man, he has been dominant underneath the glass today. He's already blown by that average. Turnaround two from mid-range. Carl Cleveland again.
And that could be a familiar theme here tonight. The Southeast Region Player of the Year coming out red hot to start this game. He's only had one game this season with less than 10 points, and it doesn't look like tonight is going to be his second.
In that one game came against North Greenville University when she only scored 7 points. Who knew that the Trailblazers would have given him that much trouble? But hey, he had a great supporting cast to back him up. They ended up going on to win that game. The first shot, miss here from Cleveland. One of his three. The other two, makes. And just like that, we're going to reintroduce Christian Drummer back up to the charity stripe. He made one last time he was up. Can he connect on two now?
A guy who's had 17 double-digit scoring games this season, and he does so many things well but free throw shooting is not his specialty. He does have a really good assists per game mark. He had 3.5 in the Conference Carolinas tourney per game in those 2 games. He had 4.3 on the year. He is the engine of this offense.
Drummer converts. Now, I tell you what, Drummer had a phenomenal start to the season. 19 points against MGSU. That kind of was a say-so for how this season was going to go for him. He had a few double-digit scoring appearances, like you said. Other than that, it was pretty rocky for him scoring-wise. But, man, he did a really good job at turning the tables as the season got closer and closer to an end. Kadyn Dawkins strikes, brings it within 3. Dawkins, of course, former SAC Freshman of the Year. As we see this one from Justin Payne, the fadeaway 3. The potential 4-point play coming our way.
And a big-time shot there from the 36% three-point shooter. And the best way for Young Harris to continue to ride this early momentum and weather the Anderson storm is to hit shots. They are doing exactly that. And Young Harris out to an early lead, 11-4 as we approach the first media timeout.
Man, I tell you what, for being the underdogs, they sure aren't playing like it. They're playing like the number 1 seed right now. And Justin Payne, a guy that we're going to see a lot of today, second-team Conference of Carolinas, as we see another conference selection, but this time for the SAC in Garcia Araujo. Spinning, turning a corner, up and around the defense. The play fake, he's blocked away, and by who else but Cameron Blashoy.
The first-team all-region member in Osmar Garcia Araujo.
Man, they were close. Both teams won by 3. Let's talk about Anderson first.
Well, Anderson, in particular, looking against Catawba, showed their ability to do what they've done all season, which is when the shots aren't falling and the defense is struggling in the second half, they can adjust. An 18-0 run in the second half for Anderson was the difference and what allowed them to beat Catawba after they held off a late rally to clinch their first ever conference tournament champion. And then Young Harris, it was just Carl Cleveland leading the way. He was tremendous. Young Harris had a big lead. It got close at the end, but able to hold off Chawan, who put up a valiant effort in the Conference Carolinas title game.
And that was the traveling man there. Jalen Ware started his career at Tallahassee Community College, went D1 up to Austin Peay, back to University of Maryland Eastern Shore at the Division II level, and then here to Young Harris. And, man, he has been a great asset, especially down low. Here comes Engelman.
He certainly has, and he's a guy who had 6 points per game in the Conference Carolinas tourney. They're going to want a little bit more production from him if they want to make a run in this tournament, but he's already off to a good start.
Yeah, and he's very, very efficient as well, shooting a 54% clip, 9.6 points per game. He's very close to that double-digit scoring margin. Now in the hands of the second-team Conference of Carolinas selection in Justin Payne. Step back 3, banger!
3 for 3 from three-point land is Young Harris. 0 for 2 are the Trojans. A shocking start here in the Abney Athletic Center.
And of course, Caleb McAbee now checked in, but the energy feels like it's going Young Harris's way. Can Garcia Araujo change that? The kick out. Here's Wright. Dribbling, looking, no-look pass, intercepted by Blashoy. Two-time Conference of Carolinas all-defensive team selection, and it shows. Cleveland now, guarded by Wright. That'll be a matchup for the history books. Step back 3. He's money! Nothing but net from Carl Cleveland. Young Harris ahead by 13. Wright. The slingshot pass. McAbee trying to get the energy high, and that he does. 3 ball will fall.
And that was a big-time momentum-shifting shot for Anderson. They needed one of those to fall. A 43.2% three-point shooter, 4th in the South Atlantic Conference this season.
And now it's back to Young Harris. They're ahead by 10. Can he make it 13? And we'll see Cleveland get stopped short. The kick out. Reeves with a bit of pep in his step to A.J. Wright. Look for him to distribute. Had a season-high 12 early on in the season. Goes all the way up himself. The unfriendly roll has struck once again for the Trojans.
And the bounces have not gone their way here so far. But, as we've seen in the first couple games so far today, better to be hot in the second half than the first.
Here comes Jalen Ware out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He steps back, and the fadeaway two will go.
And he is doing it all right now. 4 points, 3 rebounds, a block as well. And to step on your toes a little bit accidentally, Colin, a 21-9 Young Harris lead.
I took the words right out of my mouth, Jordan. But Malachi Reeves says that deficit won't be that big for long. Goes ahead, jumps the Trojans up to 12 points.
I'll tell you what this could be, though. This could be a race to 100, the way these teams are shooting the basketball. It is fast-paced. It's a lot of shots getting up, and right now they're falling.
And we see a push, a shove, and a Young Harris ball. Now, one thing I've seen, Jordan, is that many people, whenever it comes to the, high scoring of it, Young Harris, Anderson, 21-12, the 8 seed leads the way. Let's go ahead and take a look around the rest of the NCAA tournament.
Well, you've already seen one upset today here with a 6 seed Columbus State advancing to the round of 32. In the South region, Alabama Huntsville took down Palm Beach Atlantic in a shocker, 92-73. Virginia Union, a 7 seed, took down one of the favorites in West Liberty, 52-46. And Indiana, Pennsylvania, yes, make that make sense, won 89-83 against Fairmont State. A number of 6 and 7 seeds have emerged victorious so far today. Will we see more upsets tonight?
Well, right now it could be on the cusp of it. Plenty more basketball left to be played. We saw Carl Cleveland with the air ball earlier. Ball on the way to Dallas Jones. The Florida native goes up and over Cleveland, but can't make the shot. He has a chance at the free throw line.
Well, and that's the first foul for Young Harris as you see Carl Cleveland picking it up. But they've done a really good job playing disciplined defense, and you know Dallas Jones probably wants that one back.
Jones 70% from the charity stripe. Right now, Anderson needs some points to open up after that timeout. And Dallas Jones, who scored nothing, not a single drop of points in that South Atlantic Conference Championship, is getting his get back when it means the most.
Yeah, scoreless in the South Atlantic Conference semis, the title game, and he hasn't had more than 10 points since February 11th at Coker, one of the worst teams in the South Atlantic Conference. So he's got to step up here tonight. His shots may not be in rhythm, but on this stage, your stars got to play like stars. And Dallas Jones, even though he comes off the bench, is absolutely a star.
He is, and he's a big-bodied guard. Not really used to his body type on many of these defenders, and he makes them pay whenever they least expect it. Blocked by Sentinel Moore! The sophomore getting his lick back. But, man, there's Kelvin Hunter out of Douglasville, Georgia, to really get the get back on the Trojans. Up and over the head of Rashawn Engelman.
The 5th team foul already on the Trojans, and I think the pace that Young Harris is playing with is throwing this Trojans team off right now. Also, frankly, just the fact that the shots that are going in are going in. These are some ridiculous baskets that have been made from Young Harris. You look at the 3 earlier where Payne was fouled. You look at the practically horizontal shot right there from Kelvin Hunter. A lot of things have gone Young Harris's way so far.
And they lead by 9, 23-14. But now it's Anderson's turn to try and work themselves back into this game. Jordan, what needs to happen?
Well, I think what they need to do is they just need to take their time. They're trying to play to the speed of Young Harris, and that's exactly what Young Harris wants them to do. Take your time on the shot clock. Find your good shots like a Maccabee triple. Right on cue. That's exactly the blueprint of Anderson basketball. It has been all year. You take your time, you get your good looks, you get your A.J. Wright assists, and you get your buckets.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is that Caleb Maccabee had himself a little bit of a slump early on in the season. Oh, he was lights out early on. Middle of the season, but you know what they say. better to be hot in the latter half of a game or a season than in the first half. And, man, I know that Jimmy Williams is glad Caleb McAbee is in this one. Jones gets swatted from behind. The snatch away by Blashoy. Again, you look at him, 9 games with 2 or more blocks, as we see Kelvin Hunter put Jallis Jones on his butt. Back up top for Justin Payne now out of Athens, Georgia. A lot of Georgia natives dot this Young Harris team. A lot of what many would consider hometown heroes in the basketball world. Here comes Ware and Tarrant on this Anderson defense.
This Young Harris team is about as homegrown as it gets. They have a lot of continuity. They have a lot of chemistry. They have a lot of experience, and that makes them the perfect candidate to have a Cinderella run here in March.
They've got to get through the Trojans first, but right now they have been really keeping them on their P's and Q's as we see Hunter come down with a rebound, lets it fall off, and Engelman off the back iron. Blashoy the rebound. Now things starting to calm down for both sides. A little bit of a heat check there for Anderson after the Caleb McAbee triple last possession.
And Engelman is absolutely your human highlight reel for the Trojans, but that doesn't mean that you want to take shots from 35 feet away, as he missed a big one right there.
Yeah, and Kelvin Hunter, 35% from deep. That was just his 10th make from triple this season, and it just so happened to put them up now by 11, 28. Some great freaking basketball here in the Abney.
Absolutely. From start to finish, it's been exactly that. Teams shooting incredibly well here today. You're bringing your best on the biggest stage, and that's exactly what you have to do if you want to advance in March.
28-17. Young Harris leads the way by 11. Rashawn Engelman trying to cut in to that deficit that they have, but instead the attempted no-look pass out of bounds. Young Harris ball.
And Young Harris just completely unfazed by this environment. We often hear it described as one of the best in college basketball, one of the hidden gems in college basketball. But Young Harris playing like they've been here before, which is impressive because they haven't.
Now, of course, many would say that the Conference of Carolinas isn't a truly big powerhouse conference-wise in regards to basketball. As we see Ware go up and over Garcia, Garcia had no chance. But you were talking to me off air. UNCP did something almost just like this last year.
Absolutely. They came in as the 5 seed, made a run all the way to the Sweet 16. They knocked off the hosts of the Southeast Regional last year in Columbus State, and they fell in overtime to the eventual region champions in Lenoir-Rhyne. These Conference Carolinas teams, while it may be different ones every year, they've been there, done that, and they're showing that because Young Harris just cannot miss.
Cannot miss, indeed. Right now, 12 for 20, shooting 60%. The Trojans have a bit of catch-up to do. 7 for 17, just 41%. Garcia turns nothing into something. The deflected pass, he puts up for 2.
And that was dangerous there. A.J. Wright getting a little too comfortable with these no-look passes. That one in heavy traffic, but Garcia Araujo able to find it and have an easy, basically eye-level reverse lay.
Well, you got to think, this is the game you've done the most film on. As we see Hunter kind of horse collar A.J. Wright there as he was teeter-tottering on the sidelines. And A.J. Wright looks to be a bit shocked and with a small limp. Hopefully all is okay for the Trojans floor general.
And Anderson here really needs to put a dent in this lead. They don't need to go into halftime ahead. They just can't let Young Harris run away with this game. They've got to hang around and then take over in the second half like they do best.
Dawkins soaring for 2. The teardrop floater will fall. The one thing about Kadyn Dawkins, of course, multiple-time all-SAC honoree, SAC freshman of the year, a transfer from Mars Hill. He was averaging 19 points a game just last season, and he's taken his talents here to Anderson. He's been insane. Snagged away.
And we talk so much about Dawkins' three-point ability. We almost forget that his drive-in floater from the free throw line is almost his shot. You might as well call it the Kadyn Dawkins because he's doing that if he's not shooting threes.
Fighting through the swinging block attempt up LaShoy was A.J. Wright. Showing him. We welcome you back to what has been a thriller of a basketball game with Anderson on the come up. They've been climbing the ladder and are now within striking distance of Young Harris for the first time today. 32-25 here in the third matchup of the Southeast Regional here in men's Division II basketball.
No Carl Cleveland on the floor for Young Harris. Anderson's got to take advantage of this opportunity.
1, 2, 3. Just like that, we saw the combo of miss, rebound, and then Ware puts it up and grabs the eventual two, but looks like they might waive that and instead call the foul on when Blashoy went up for the attempted putback slam.
And when you have that many offensive rebounds that quickly, all basically even with the rim, you're going to have Garcia pick up that foul because there's no better defense you could play in that situation. And Carl Cleveland was out for about 15 seconds. So he's rested back in the game. And honestly, that's not at all surprising. He's somebody you'd expect to go all 40 minutes for Young Harris to get the win here tonight.
And man, he has seen so many intense to-the-wire games the entire season. Young Harris actually ended up losing the final two games of the regular season. One to Mount Olive and then at Converse. But then they make the run in the Conference of Carolina's tournament, and now here they are winning against the number one seed Anderson, but not for long. A.J. Wright dumps one in the bucket.
And that was just beautiful. Right from the corner, the veteran. 3 full years with the Trojans. This is most successful season, and that's saying something because he's been pretty good until now, but just continuing to astound.
Yeah, led the sack in steals and assists last season, and like you said, broke a program record for steals this year, and he's second in the sack in assists. Dawkins says, that's ours, calls it, and now the Trojans are within 4. 2-possession ball game.
And the other thing worth noting about A.J. Wright is he's coming off his best game of the season. His 23 points against Catawba were the reason the Trojans were able to come back against Catawba and take the victory. He was a huge part of that 18-0 run in the second half.
4 separate Trojans scored in double digits. He was the only one with 20 or more points. Malachi Reeves sticks a hand in there. They call the foul, and it looks like Reeves will pick up his second of the day. 3 Trojans with 2 fouls apiece. Is that something they should be worried about, Jordan?
They're getting a D2. It's a whole new ball game.
See some sportsmanship here on the floor between both sides. But you made a good point. For Anderson, record for the most amount of wins in program history. Jimmy Williams has done that at every single stop he's made. North Greenville, Furman, and now Anderson. 34-28, 3.5 minutes to go, Jordan.
And Ware leading the way with 10 points, a surprise for what you would expect from this Young Harris team.
He had a season-high 20 points against North Greenville early on in the season. Also had a double-double against Francis Marion University, 17 points, 11 rebounds. He's not afraid to dive into that double-digit scoring, and he's done so already against one of the top 10 teams in the country. Just like that, Anderson on the comeback. What needs to happen in these final 3.5 minutes?
They just need to close the gap. They don't even necessarily need to go into the halftime locker room with the lead. We know this is a team that can score in bunches. They are incredibly explosive, and they are well within striking distance. Down 6 is nothing for them, given what they've seen this season.
Wright bobbles it. Dawkins finds it, but instead it's Malachi Reeves trying to take it away, and now it ends up in the hands of Drummer. really playing this game at the beat of his own drum. 10.2 points on average per game onto the guy who's second on the offense, 17 points a game, and shows just why Justin Payne strikes again.
And that was just a beautiful up and under there from Justin Payne. And honestly, his 17.8 points per game, to be precise, are pretty darn impressive. But what's more impressive is the fact he hasn't had a game with less than 10 points in 2026. The last time he had less than 10 was December 6th, 2025 versus Belmont Abbey.
Blocked by Garcia Arujo and the eventual putback. And man, you could see the frustrations flying for the Trojans after a cross-court tailwind was being found from Garcia all the way to smack that one. And then eventually, no defense for the Trojans. It was put back up. 2 minutes to go now, and it's in the hands of Engelman. Now to right. Sidestep dribble. Looking from mid-range. He's got an opening. The pass to a wide-open Garcia Arujo, and he strikes underneath the basket.
And that was a beautiful fake three-pointer attempt right there. It looks like he was going to pull it from long range, got the defense to bite, and then Garcia Arujo was unguarded, and that was an easy two, the easiest he'll ever find.
Wow.
On Rashawn Engelman as well as Christian Drummer. So all of a sudden, that third foul on Engelman, and he's going to ride the bench.
Not where you want to be if you're Jimmy Williams and your Trojans. You're down by 8, a minute and a half left here in the first half of play, and your freshman of the year, the conference freshman of the year, who has been incredible all season long, is riding the bench due to 3 fouls. And we still have a whole half of basketball left to be played. Dawkins lets it loose, can't convert. It's a battle for it down low. Fighting, we have tempers flaring here in the Abney. Jump ball called. It'll go Young Harris's way. Jordan, let's look at this replay.
And A.J. Wright honestly showing some frustration that we haven't seen all season from the Trojans. The pressure makes diamonds, but sometimes it bursts pipes. And right now, Anderson, you can tell they're feeling the pressure of this stage, of feeling almost this game as a must-win. You can't lose to the 8 seed. That's embarrassing, is what's going through their minds. And they're trying not to have that happen, but they're losing their cool a little bit, and it's really affecting this game.
Definitely affecting this game, and you got to sit here and think some of the difference makers that are getting put in these high-pressure situations, like you said, where the pipes just may burst, they're the guys that are going to be the difference makers. These are the guys that are going to go ahead and try and win you the game. A.J. Wright, for example, as he steals this one away off the bobble pass, the no-look pass, McAfee up and in, the finger roll lay will go. But got to stay safe, got to play with a cool head, and you got to get the job done. Senator Moore into the game as well. Here comes Payne from the Trojan head off the back iron, and that will be Anderson ball. That one touched the top of the backboard. 46 seconds remain.
And to think, we've had 2 great games. We're on track for a third, and tonight's headliner might be the best game of them all. The last 2 Southeast Regional champions, Lenore-Rhine, North Georgia, they await the winner of this. We've got instant classics all day here in Anderson.
Dawkins able to corral this one. An instant classic is his floater, and by God it goes. Anderson within 4 of Young Harris.
A big-time moment. Dawkins, again, it's not his three-point, but it's his floater. Beautiful. Finding the net and drawing the contact to go to the line.
And, of course, a big shout-out to all the broadcast department for making this game happen. Beautiful camera quality, even better producing, and some freaking great basketball. Payne controls it. No shot clock left for either side. Right against Payne. Right. Handcuff defense. Payne escapes. Sidestep two. Nothing but net. Oh, my goodness. And just like that, Dawkins to release the last three of the half off the front iron. 40-35, your halftime score.
And oh my, Justin Payne.
Now, Anderson had some good moments, but what needs to be fixed for them to not be at this 5-point deficit at the end of the game?
Well, what they need to do is just tighten up defensively, because the shots that they have allowed and the shots that have fallen for Young Harris have been, frankly, ridiculous. But those are shots that are not going to fall every single time. They're going to cool off, you would think, because they're shooting 55.6% from three. That's something it's so hard to sustain. So I would expect for them to cool off. Anderson perhaps to heat up, because they were cold in that first half. And if those two things happen, well, then Anderson likely emerges victorious.
Even looking at the warm-ups here for the beginning of the second half, Anderson looked good. They were starting to look hot, making shots, and Malachi Reeves looking to prove me right, but couldn't there. Now, of course, one player to look out for right now is Rashawn Engelman, sacked freshman of the year, but he's got 3 fouls. Right now, through a technical, put him in to the hole, basically.
Yeah, and this game certainly has escalated quickly. Tensions are high, but both these teams know what's at stake. They know the national prominence that comes from winning a game like this, and they're trying to do exactly that.
Deep ball from Payne. He tried that at the very end of the first half, was unsuccessful. Second try, not a charm, maybe third time around. Carl Cleveland, he's 3 for 6 today. What have you thought of his game as it's progressed?
He's been terrific his entire career, but honestly, today I'm surprised. I thought I'd see more of him. It doesn't seem like he's the priority in this offense. And obviously, Anderson's going to key in on him because he is their primary scorer, but I would still expect to see him be more involved in this offense. Just 6 shots seems low for him.
He controls the pace now. Cleveland. Contested by Garcia Arujo. On to Payne. Again, 17.8 points per game. He's been that second guy on this squad. On the way, up and no good. Yet to see any scoring open up the floodgates for either team. Remains 40-35.
And you saw such an offensive first half. I'd expect to see a lot more defense here in this second half, because you look at Anderson, a team that scores 83 points per game, 36th in the country, and Young Harris, a team that scores 81, which is top 70 in the country. But both of these teams' defense is what is going to be key in order to win this game, because defense wins championships.
It absolutely does, and that speaks to the margin of points that the Trojans win games by. Contested 3 from Cleveland, no good. He was double-teamed in the corner. They're going to call it out. It's going to be Young Harris ball.
And it's going to be on Engelman, his 4th. My goodness.
Look for Caleb Mackabee to likely check in for the freshman, and that he will do. 4th in the South Atlantic Conference in 3-point percentage. And you could tell Jimmy Williams has a bit of frustration with his freshman standout. 18 minutes remain here. It's in the hands of Maxwell. On the way, Payne, not afraid of the deep 3. Shuffles from mid-range, got it. Nothing but net there for Justin Payne, the second-team Conference of Carolina selection.
And he has been sensational, playing like a first-teamer here on this big stage. Has made a number of tough shots. He hasn't contributed on the glass, though, which is surprising. He averages 9.8 rebounds per game. It was second in the Conference Carolinas.
A scuffle for it. And just like that, we'll see an Anderson ball. lost by Maxwell. Dawkins tries to scoop it up, and it's going to be a foul there on Maxwell for wrapping up Dawkins by the arm.
Well, it looked like it was Maxwell who was trying to start transition, and Payne might have gotten in his way. It affected the transition opportunity for the Mountain Lions and ultimately led to the turnover.
Garcia playing big man basketball down low, swatted away. Jalen Ware interrupting the flow of this Anderson offense. 35-42. Haven't seen much from either side offensively, but going back to that margin that Anderson tends to win by 15.8 points that they're winning by on average, that just speaks very highly of the defense that they have to really put on today. And right now, they have not been a very limiting defense. They have been more of an allowing defense, but here they are stepping up to the scenario and to the occasion. Maccabee up off the glass. Garcia got a tip on it. They're going to call this foul on the ground.
Well, and to your point about the scoring margin for the Trojans, it was actually much larger earlier this year. But the last 6 games for the Trojans have all been single digits, and the last 3 have been by 5 points or less. All of those being South Atlantic Conference tournament games, and this one looking like it's going to be close here tonight. The question is, will they come out on the right side of history?
Against Lenoir-Rhyne, it was a 91-90 overtime thriller. And guess who we saw win that game for the Trojans? Rashawn Engelman. Guess where he's at right now? On the bench. But Tusculum won that one by 9. Against Wingate, won that one by 2. A.J. Wright, fadeaway 2. Maccabee recollects it. They'll call the foul on the ground. Blashoy starting to get deep into foul trouble as well.
And the offensive foul on Maccabee. A bit of a late whistle there. A delayed whistle, but certainly justified in the offensive foul there. The elbow to the back. You can't do that.
Definitely not. And you could tell that it opened up a bit of space for him to score, but it was a suspicious amount of space there, Jordan, that it opened up. And Young Harris remains with the lead. 42-35, 16 and a half minutes remain here. In the hands of Drummer, it was him and Engelman that got into the slight scuffle there later on in the first half. Now Cleveland eyeing down the basket, has it poked away. Maccabee in full sprint. Aruo wide open off the spin move, makes it count for 2.
A 360 there from Garcia Araujo. That was picture perfect. It started with him poking it away defensively before Maccabee was able to take it and then get it right back in transition.
And now Dawkins in transition off the steal. 3 ball, good! Boom goes the dynamite. The Trojans within 2.
Bodies hitting the floor in Anderson, South Carolina.
Team who's the number 1 seed in Anderson, and then the 8th seed in Young Harris out of Young Harris, Georgia. 2-point game, but the number 1 seed has been down almost the entirety of it.
Yeah, they have. And in fact, if you're looking at it right now, 15:43 remains, and this is very uncharacteristic. Anderson has yet to have the lead. Will that change here in moments? We'll find out.
Engelman not on the court after that timeout. Now it's in the hands of Drummer. Uh-oh. We've got some animosity here on the court today. Right. Drummer. Toe-to-toe, shoulder-to-shoulder. I love the passion coming out. Got hooked up between arms there, and then Drummer comes up with the aggressive kind of shoulder bump. And, man, the fans here at Anderson did not like that.
Well, we saw a tech for something very similar to that earlier, but no tech given there. I'm a bit surprised.
But the foul will be given to A.J. Wright, just his second. But the frustration is starting to boil and bubble over. I tell you what, I have a feeling we're going to see a bit more pushing and shoving at some point in this game. The tensions are high, and there's a lot more basketball left to be played.
It certainly is, but I think the other concern is fouls are being called at a rate on stars where you might get into position where some stars are out of this game for both of these teams.
Cleveland, the star of this young Harris squad with the right-handed hook shot. They found the crutch, but the friendly roll will help. 40-44. A.J. Wright to be in command, chatting up the ref as he goes down the sideline. It's him and Arujo that have been the true leaders of this squad as the season's gone along. I'd say Arujo has really been the centerpiece of the team. And these guys are really in it to win it. It's not too often that you see a team go from what they were last year to now top 10 in the country without some great personnel behind it. And Jimmy Williams has been a big piece of that. But bringing in transfers like Garcia Arujo coming from LMU and bringing in guys like Malachi Reeves from St. John Brown U, and then a lot of other guys in to make this rebuild happen. It's been great to watch.
It's been special things happening here in Anderson, South Carolina, but it's also been special things happening in Young Harris, Georgia. Both of these teams, incredibly bright trajectories going forward, but they don't want to look about the future just yet. They want to look about right now, and what's at task right now, the task at hand, is advancing to the round of 32.
But they're going to have to get through either North Georgia or LR first. That's going to be a game to watch, and that's right after the conclusion of this one. Call Cleveland. He's back in town, ladies and gentlemen. 46-41, 14 and a half minutes remain.
And Anderson still just seems to be out of sorts offensively.
Reeves eyeing down the orange cylinder. Instead, he finds Wright the kick out. Wide open Reeves. Can't bring it home. The dish. Maccabee. No bucket. They'll say he's out of bounds. Tough break. We're going to see that.
To the call defensively.
Tough break, in all honesty. That would have put them within 2 points of Young Harrison. 2 points of tying this game. And then 1 step closer to taking the lead for the first time today. Anderson yet to have a lead. Now it's up to, like you said, Jordan, the defense of this Trojan team up against Blashoy and Cleveland. Payne also dots the floor. Foul called on Dawkins. That'll be his third. Lots of Trojan stars getting in the mix of foul trouble. We may see some of the reserves here soon.
You look at Wright and Reeves with 2, Dawkins with 3, Engelman with 4. Lots of foul trouble the black and gold have to worry about. But first, they just got to worry about getting the lead back. And offensive rebounds for Young Harris. That's the 10th of this game.
Yeah, and those two have been the 1-2 punch all season long. Where Cleveland can't get it done, Blashoy gets in there and makes it happen. Reeves can't get it done down low. Here comes Payne. Streaking by defenders, trying to find an outlet. Blashoy to take handle of this one. Now Payne to lead the charge. Engelman stepping up to substitute in. Cleveland driving on Garcia. Switches hands, looking, driving, fadeaway 2. Off the crutch, no good. A bad forced shot. But Blashoy, like I said, he's there for cleanup. Deep 3, no good. We saw Hunter make his 10th of the season early on in the first. Hasn't been able to hit since.
Not a primary shooter from three-point range for sure.
But Dawkins is. Makes it count. Bada bing, bada boom.
And now just a 4-point game. And that's the thing about this game is as much as Young Harris has had the momentum, as much as they've been able to ride the waves of impressive shots falling, they still have yet to run away from these Trojans. They continue to battle and make this game close.
That will result In a Young Harris ball, down low, no bucket called, remains a 4-point game with a little bit more than 12 minutes remaining. McAbee traded out for Engelman. Engelman has got to play his cards right, but do you think this is a risk for Jimmy Williams to be putting him in this early on in the second half?
It is a risk, but high risk, high reward. He's a guy who could get the offense going.
Soaring is Superman, A.J. Wright to the rescue.
And Engelman, a guy who has 2 points, that's not going to last long. He's going to hit shots eventually, so you got to trust he's going to play smart defense and not foul.
Payne, a high-flying deep two, ditched out to Dawkins. Dawkins looking for triple! Back-to-back threes for Kadyn Dawkins. Takes the lead. Trojans up by 1.
My goodness. Kadyn Dawkins has turned up the Abney. And the offensive foul. Anderson is rolling. All of a sudden, the 4th foul on.
To the Abney Athletic Center for what is a cinema. Many would dub this an absolute movie. 49-48, the Trojans lead by 1, and they've got possession. And just like that, they don't. Popped out of the hands of Aruo.
And Wright gonna pick up the foul. His 3rd. And again, Stars in foul trouble for the Trojans.
You've got Dawkins with 3, Wright with 3, and Engelman with 4. But number 2 is still on the court for the Trojans. Jimmy Williams trusts his freshman. But Payne can't trust himself at the line. 87.9% free throw shooter, and he misses the game-tying 1. We've got 11 minutes to go.
An absurd mark, by the way, from the free throw line. 88% is ridiculous as he goes 0 for 2. And Engelman losing the handle right there.
And even when he loses the handle, he's got to be really wary of what he does seconds afterwards. If he tries to reach back out for that ball, but Young Harris is in possession, that could be an instant whistle, and that could get him out of the game. What a disastrous moment that would be for the Trojans. But at the same time, he hasn't really done much today. Only 2 points now for the freshman. But right now, he's got to play it safe. So I could see why he isn't trying to do too much on the offensive side. But Payne trying to do too much. Where? And hey, the Trojans are being asked by fans, where's the defense? Because Ware just snuck his way in, got the offensive board, and puts it up for 2.
Well, that's the question they got to ask is, where's the rebounding? Because the offensive rebounds for Young Harris have been way too common.
Dawkins makes a miss, and look at that. 3-point lead with King Dawkins at the helm.
He is electric. There's a reason he's the South Atlantic Conference leader in 3-point percentage. Just under 50% on the year. What is he today? 50%.
Hey, living up to the hype is Kadyn Dawkins. Foul called. Cleveland on his back. The Trojans continue to rack up the fouls.
They certainly do, and it looks like that's on Malachi Reeves, his 3rd. So 4 of the 5 starters for the Trojans have 3 or more fouls with 10 minutes to play here in this game.
One thing about Reeves is that he's been known to be in foul trouble quite often. But seeing Dawkins, seeing Engelman in deep foul trouble, it's kind of scary if you're a Trojan fan. I mean, this could end what has been a close to perfect season. And you still got to host for yet another few days? That's got to be the most heartbreaking feeling if they are to lose. But right now we have a tie ball game. It's 52s knotted here in Trojan country.
And they're not worried about the future right now. They're worried about these next 9.5 minutes because that could set the course for the rest of this season. I mentioned they didn't deal with a heck of a lot of adversity toward the latter part of this season. They've dealt with plenty of it today, but they have responded well. They need to continue to do so. Garcia Araujo calling for the replay. And Jimmy Williams not going to answer the call.
So we'll see the replay there. We're going to bring it back one more time. Or maybe not. But either way, it looked to be off the foot of Araujo. So we've got a tie ball game. Payne surveys, sees the orange cylinder, goes up for two. Not only is he lethal from three, but every single tier of the offense.
7 for 12 from the floor tonight. 17 points. He's been terrific.
Right. Tries to knock it off the bank. Sparrow Financial apparently is open. So just like that, back-to-back blows exchange, 54-54, your score here in a thrilling third match of the day. 8.5 minutes to go. It's Payne. Payne, quick trigger three. Can't find it.
But another offensive rebound for Young Harris. Seems like every other possession when they miss, they're getting an offensive board, and Blashoy is doing a large part of it.
Dumps it off to Payne and delivers the blow there with the mid-range two. 56-54, Young Harris once again back in the lead. Slingshot pass. The windup well read by Cleveland. Blashoy on the wear, back to Blashoy. They pass the Trojan head. Blashoy looking, scanning. Cleveland on to Payne. They're going to slow the pace for the final 15 seconds of this shot clock. Cleveland can make magic happen no matter who's in front of him. We'll see what he does here. This is it off to Ware. Three to shoot. And Rashawn Engelman is out of here. Fifth foul for the freshman, and he's going to be ejected. One heck of a game here in the Abney Athletic Center. And a big thank you to the NCAA for putting this show on. And a big shout out to our broadcast crew as well for making productions like this happen. 2-point game, and Cleveland looks to make it a bit more than that. And the 1-for-1, no good. 2-point game it remains. Ware looking. On to Hunter. Now on to Drummer. Off the front of the rim. Right, the rebound. Reeves. Dribble drive, kick out, Dawkins. Thought about three, instead looks for the two. Up and over the rim. Oh, we have a collision. Foul to be called, I believe, on Hunter. There, Calvin Hunter, the 6'7" sophomore out of Douglasville, Georgia.
And it will, as we see Dawkins fly in. No real possession of the ball there, and so it will be Anderson retaining it. It's a big possession. All of these possessions magnified with the margin this slim. 2 points, 6 minutes, 54 seconds. Who is going to the round of 32?
Well, right now, the Trojans just trying to play a bit of catch-up here. Dawkins leads the floor, 19 points to his name. And can he make it a bit more? Look for his 22nd points there, but can't get it done. On the way, Drummer. Blashoy, the kick out. Long two. Drummer. Swish. Nothing but nylon there for him.
And Drummer playing with those 4 fouls He's got 4 points, and coincidentally, that's the margin, 58-54.
One thing about Drummer is that from the field, he's second best on this squad, 53.7%, just behind the 71.7% of Blashoy, and that one too high arcing for Maccabee.
And the threes for Anderson just not falling at the typical rate. 34% tonight, 8 for 23 on the evening. The shots, the bounces that Anderson has gotten all season, they're not getting at the moment.
Dawkins has had 4 of those 8. He has been the three-point regime. Right, sidestep, shuffle, hops back for 2. Back and forth punches being exchanged from both these teams, and that's obviously metaphoric, not literate, though we almost saw it happen. What does Young Harris got to do to counter this potential comeback of Anderson?
I think you got to get Cleveland involved in the offense. Again, he's been fairly quiet today. 14 points. He had I think it was 8 he had at halftime. He only has 6 in this second half, but isn't seeing a high volume of shots.
And he gets that one swatted away. Sentinel Moore, who led the Trojans just last season in blocks with 31, decides to go up. Look at that. Defense to offense. The sophomore out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, is elite.
And the game is tied.
And it's funny because when he was running down the court, he signaled to right. He said, no, not here. And guess what? Ball ends up in his hands. He gets the job done. Ware, guarded by Moore. The two built pretty similar, but just like that, Ware gets the better of him. The senior just showing off that veteran experience of so many different teams that he's played for.
And Ware, 7 for 8 tonight. 16 points, 7 rebounds, a steal, and a block. The 54% shooter has been sensational this evening.
Drummer on the pickup. Williams looking for the travel. It's a 2-point game. Can they extend the lead? Drummer left on an island. Down low's Ware. Up and in. This is his second miss of the day. Reeves in transition finds Dawkins. Dawkins shimmy and shake and slips on a wet spot. They need it cleaned. Dawkins down for the count. You can feel the frustration from Kadyn Dawkins right now. Garcia Arroyo checks in. Takes the place of Sentinel Moore. Inbound coming for Drummer. Cleveland on to Payne. 4 minutes remain, Jordan. 4 minutes here in regulation. It's a 2-point game. Payne looking to extend it. Driving it on Maccabee. Shoulders his way, breaks his ankles, but can't finish the shot. Maccabee fighting for it. Some redemption there from the sophomore. Man, I tell you what, we've seen bodies hit the floor over and over today. It has been a mangle of Trojans and Mountain Lions the entirety of this game.
This has been a physical, hard-fought battle.
Maccabee makes Cleveland jump, can't make him pay. Payne in full stride. Drummer driving through the alley, off the glass, kisses it as he goes. Timeout called, and we'll take it with him. 4-point game as we look at this replay.
What is on the line? Now the question is, which team, like they've done all season, will step up on the big stage, deliver for the moment?
The moment of truth, Jordan. Conference of Carolinas, South Atlantic Conference. Right now, the SAC has found himself with a loss at each stage of this tournament so far. Catawba couldn't get it done. LMU couldn't get it done. Could it be the same for Anderson?
Still a lot of time left in this game. 3 minutes and 2 seconds in a 4-point and possibly even less than that. Maybe it's a 2-point game after these free throws. That is an eternity.
Garcia Araujo, 73%. That's phenomenal for a big man.
Ware picking up his 4th foul on that last exchange as well. So now Ware and Drummer dealing with 4.
Not going to see Engelman anymore for the Trojans either. His 5th foul was just a few short minutes ago. 3 minutes remain. Just like that, we've got ourselves a 62-60 game. Final 3 minutes are underway. Jordan, what does Anderson need to do to claw back besides score?
They just got to get some stops defensively. They can't foul. Both teams are in the bonus at this stage. Fouls are going to be critical in deciding the outcome of this game. They need to play clean, disciplined defense. Both of these teams do if they want to be victorious.
And Payne playing disciplined offensively, going back to his bread and butter, which is that fadeaway 3. And, man, able to create space. He's probably the best in the business, and just as a sophomore. McAbee tries to exchange. Less than 2.5 minutes to go. 5-point game. The Trojans on a cusp of one of their very few losses of the season. They came in 29-2, 21-2 in sack play. Could they leave 29-3? Cusp of one of the biggest upsets of the season in the entirety of the nation. Anderson, number 5 in the country, to an unranked Young Harris team. McAbee steals it off the inbound. Spin move. Can't make it happen. Foul called. Looks like it'll be on. Let's see. So I'm getting 2 different storylines here.
They called it on McAbee, it looks like, because Young Harris has possession.
That is something else.
Oh, no, they called goaltending. That's what it was.
That makes more sense. I was about to say there were 2 extra points on the board for the Trojans. That
I noticed that too. I was like, wait a minute, something's not right.
3-point game. Has to be a score here for Young Harris if they want to potentially win this one. But for the Trojans, if they can make a stop here, come back and tie it up, we may see one of the best overtime thrillers we've seen all season. That's hard to beat, being it was a 91-90 overtime win for Anderson against LR. Payne working on right. Sidestep through traffic. Here comes A.J. Wright diving for it. Loose ball. It's Dawkins. Numbers advantage Trojans. He's tripped up. He's down for the count.
Drummer the trip. That's his 5th foul, so he's going because now it'll be 2 free throws and Anderson possession. Momentum just completely flipped to the Trojans despite the fact they've been trailing almost this entire game.
Dawkins, 20th point of the day after the trippage, after crutching his knee, and us hoping and praying it wasn't anything drastic like an ACL tear.
And an 84% free throw shooter stepping up in the clutch. And now the Trojans have possession with a chance to take the lead. Who's going to step up for the 1 seed if they want this win here in front of their home crowd to continue the dream of possibly a Sweet 16, possibly an Elite 8.
Potentially a national championship.
Their first appearance since 2014. They don't want it to end on night 1.
Right. Flying in. Just like that, Cleveland snags away that. He's got 30 seconds to shoot, so the Trojans will have a bit more time to potentially tie things up. We got a foul on our hands, and it's going the way of the Trojans.
A double dribble there from Cleveland. The senior making a critical error. turning it over. Just now the 15th turnover, just the third of the day for Cleveland, but the 15th turnover. And now Anderson, again, the same situation. Who's going to step up?
A.J. Wright to Reeves, looking down low. Baseline is Arujo. Driving up. He's got free throws coming his way. Garcia, Arujo, the LMU rail splitter transfer, might put this one in the bucket for the Trojans. 1 minute remains, and he's shooting 73% from the line.
And he's 3 for 4 today.
Needs one to tie it, one to take the lead.
And Jalen Ware picked up the foul, so he's gone as well for Young Harris.
Had a phenomenal career night, 22 points. Garcia Arujo has only a chance to tie it now.
A huge miss. Anderson can't get the lead just yet.
Garcia lets it loose, ties the ball game at 65.
And now it's going to be up to Young Harris. Can Cinderella fit their glass slipper, or will Anderson do what was expected and beat the Mountain Lions?
Less than a minute to go. Payne, he has been magical today. Can he keep the magic going? He's got 5 to shoot. The final 3 seconds of the shot clock, pulls up from distance. Foul's called! Oh my goodness! Malachi Reeves put a hand in there. Payne's going to have 3 shots.
Reeves, a guy who all season has been so disciplined defensively, gets called for the foul, his 4th. And now Payne at the line for 3 free throws. He's 1 for 3 today, and these are 3 massive, massive shots.
Well, he's one of the best free throw shooters in the entire Conference of Carolinas. And with 36 seconds on the clock, he could put this one in a 2-possession game for the Trojans if he makes this final one.
Anderson will need a 3 to tie. And one of your best 3-point shooters is unavailable. Engelman, not here in this stage. He's the guy who stepped up and made huge shots all season. Who is going to do it here for Anderson?
68-65. We're going to see here. Wright, streamlining, kicks it out. Reeves drives the lane, dishes up, in, got it. A.J. Wright, but it's a 1-point ball game. Final 18 seconds remain. Young Harris calls the timeout. We'll catch our breath. Let you guys do it too for a 1-point ball game. We'll be territory in Anderson, South Carolina, in their home gym. How do you think they feel right now, Jordan?
Well, I'll tell you what, they're nervous because Anderson hasn't lost here in over a year. They were perfect in the regular season this year, and you have to go all the way back to February 1st, 2025 for the last time the Trojans lost in this building.
It's not a place where you lose too often if you're the home team. For opponents, it's one of the hardest places to play in the conference and in the nation. But right now, Young Harris making a proving point. Dylan Wall enters the game for the first time today and goes up and makes his first free throw. It's a 2-point ball game. Got to make it here. Trojans have got to have a 3 to tie it. Into the game comes Maxwell. Haven't seen him since the first half. Final 15 seconds. Timeout called. We'll take it with them. Trojan ball, 3-point ball.
Time they want to get the shot up. But this ball's going to end up in the hands of Kadyn Dawkins. You need a three. You go to your best three-point shooter with your season on the line, a veteran, a guy who came into today with 1,650 career points.
Dawkins looking. Maccabee for three. Can't get it. The tap in. 4.6 seconds remain. It's got to be a defensive stand with the season on the line. No 5-second rule. Foul. Payne's going to the line. The worst guy you could bring up to the free throw line. The Trojans going to have 3.9 seconds to do anything. If they can't, it's their season.
And the threes just not falling for the Trojans.
Were you surprised to see it put in the hands of Maccabee for that final shot?
Yeah, I was. I thought it was going to go to Kadyn Dawkins. He shot it very well today. 4 for 9. Maccabee was just 2 for 5 before that attempt. But I also think Young Harris knew, don't let it get in the hands of Kadyn Dawkins, and so they didn't.
3-point ball game.
Anderson needs a three. You looked to Maccabee last time, he didn't hit it. I think you got to look for Dawkins here if you can.
You got the inbound here by Wright. 2 of your best passers at the midcourt. 2 of your best shooters at the end of the court. Awaiting a bucket. Reeves. Arujo. The dish out. Here's the shot to win off the backboard and the rim. And Young Harris with the upset. The Trojans, the perfect season